So Cash has barked before, and I think we were at like a 20, and that pretty much stopped him in his tracks. If he's not going to bark, I just do low-level taps for that hyper focus. I'm not telling him he can't look. Of course he can look. I'm just telling him to calm down a little bit with how intense he is about looking. And then when he can calm down, he gets food, but he doesn't want it. He's a nervous guy. At home, he's much more explosive where he's comfortable. They'll have to change things up because of that. No. But this just gives a bit of an example, kind of shows you some of the work through we do with these dogs. It would probably take a week. I'd say 3 to 5 days of working on this several times a day, every day, and then he'd start to take food. The reason we're doing the knocking or the doorbell so many times is to desensitize him so it doesn't become a trigger for people coming in. He'll start to relax and then he can take food. Now, I'm getting him up because he just seems a little tight. So I just want him to get up, move around a little bit, relax a little. If your dog is that stressed out with just the doorbell and the knocking, you want to work them when that's happening first. This is just when you're practicing a few times a week, desensitizing them of noises. Hey, how's it going? Hello. All right, wait right there. I let him see the person, then hear the person speak, see if there's a reaction. Then I go back, pick up the leash. I'm in control. I'm in the middle to make my nervous dog or reactive, whatever it is, feel like I've got it under control. Then I invite the person in. They can shut the door behind them. Just walk right up to the threshold. Just don't look right at him. Good. Finally, a little nose action. Let's go. Good. Place. This is my only low-level Ecollar tap here because he softens. This is just a repeat. It's lowest level possible because you got to play on Ecollar to get the dog to look away. And then they might look again. It's rinse and repeat. We're chipping away at him being so fearful when he stares down someone so he can relax. Usually for tracking someone, even in the house, because they'll go after them at some point when they get up from the dinner table to go to the bathroom, I tap at lowest level possible to get the dog to disengage. But look at that nose. That little nose is moving on that dog, so I let it go.
Using his nose though.
Good. We'll do the same thing. Just walk like up to like right there. He does. Good. One more step forward. Let's go. Good job. One step back. Place. Good boy. Same thing. Let's go. Good. What he wants is space, and sometimes he reacts to get it. So I'm putting pressure on him and showing him I will give him space. And I'll repeat that 5 to 10 times, depending on how much the dog is struggling, just to build some trust. And so they feel comfortable that they can move away. And then they start to get used to the person. And I don't get the big eyes anymore when they step in towards the dog. You're building trust with that alone. And then they can stay there. They can hang out in place and handle that pressure. But only after I've done this pressure off several times. Now, some dogs are so bad they won't get to that step the first 10 times you do it. And that is perfectly okay. And by next step, I mean the person be able to put pressure on the dog and the dog just hang out in place and have trust and know that he's not going to be pet. That takes sometimes a long, long time to cultivate. And it might take Cash a long time to cultivate that in his own home where he's got some history. Now, I love to show this. Look, after all that work, he's calming down. He's starting to take food. You don't give up on food. It might take several repetitions, several days of practicing this, maybe even weeks, and then they start to take food. You only start to add food into a situation when you completely trust that the dog won't react. They're in a calmer state of mind. They're not in an overly aroused state of mind where they might have forward motion, aggression, reactivity, growling. We do not use food to try to redirect that. We only use food when the dog is already in a certain mental headspace, and then we use food to start to change the perception of the situation, because most dogs react out of fear. And then the next best thing I love to do with people who are comfortable, guests that are comfortable, and Mark is always game for this, which is take the leash and start walking the dog. This is the best way to build a comfort level with a dog. You're not facing them directly. You're not petting them. You're barely talking to them, if at all. Sometimes we don't. That resistance is normal. I told Mark, you just keep going. And the dog will follow you. Just gets more and more comfortable each time you do stuff like this. Now, obviously, this is with a dog that I would say doesn't have serious aggression, but he does have a bite history. So this is a great way to work on his confidence and context around the door knocking routine, or anything at the front door in general.